We are back here on the Senior Network with our friend Darlene Schuetz from Hospice Care of the Lowcountry. It is wonderful to see you.
It's so good to see you.
We got a lot to catch up on.
We absolutely do. Absolutely.
It's a lovely rainy day out, so we were just talking about, it's great.
Lovely for our looks.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
And I just had someone ask me about Hospice Care of the Lowcountry and if they were appropriate for one of their family members. And it brought up some thoughts that I had, even when my dad needed hospice. What are the questions that you wish people would ask when it comes to even considering Hospice Care of the Lowcountry?
It's a great question because I always tell people we interview at the beginning of life. If you're going to have a baby, you might interview a couple OBGYNs or midwives. We interview contractors, plumbers, realtors, but nobody talks about interviewing for your end-of-life care, which is so important. And so the first thing I would say is if your physician says, I want you to call a specific hospice, that question would be, why that hospice? Are you affiliated with them? Why do you prefer them? And then from there, I would call 2 hospices and I would set up a liaison visit. The questions I would ask, of course, I would ask if they're nonprofit. I would ask if they are Medicare certified. Other things that are maybe not as transparent to some people would be things like, if I call at 2 a.m., how rapid is that response going to be? Am I going to speak to a person? You know, at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, we have a dedicated night nurse. That's what she works. We have a dedicated weekend nurse. So the chance of getting someone to come out is so much greater than someone who's worked all day already.
So what I hear you say is not necessarily all hospices are created equal. Do they specialize in different things, or is it just the services they offer?
It's just the services, and it's a different philosophy. Some hospices are much larger, and they're for-profit. So the questions to ask are ones that might be important to you and your loved one. So if I'm the caregiver and I need a break, do you actually have volunteers? Hospices are required to, but do you actually have them? Are they going to be able to come to my home so I can have a couple hours of break to get my hair done, to go out to lunch? Another question I think that's really important is, do you have complimentary services? Complimentary, things like massage, music therapy, pet therapy. What's important to you may be different than what's important to me, but at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, we try to get everything. We have aromatherapy, massage therapy, there's so much, physical therapy, it all goes in to a care plan.
And just shifting a little bit with that care plan, one of the things I didn't realize that you all did that I'm so impressed with now is, it can be a pretty overwhelming time for caregivers. And there are so many moving pieces. I know you guys have even done webinars on helping get ready, power of attorney, asking hard questions. Share a little bit about those kinds of things, because I think that's what sets you all apart.
Yeah, the advanced care planning, we are always available to help with that. We even have a volunteer who will meet one-on-one with you and go through all the documents. We have attorneys that we work with who are more than willing to talk to people. But I think it's really important to know what questions to ask and why. Life support to you may be different than life support to me.
Especially with COVID and the pandemic, it really brought about some questions we hadn't thought about before.
Sure, yeah. And as a caregiver, it's important that you know what your loved one, who is the patient, what their wishes are, because it helps you to provide the care that you know they want, and it also helps you alleviate any guilt you might feel.
And on that note, you and I have no trouble talking about this, because I think one of the things Hospice Care of the Lowcountry has done so well is death with dignity, and really opening up tough conversations, but making them really accessible to everyone. As always, it's a treat to see you.
Thanks, Debi.
We want to thank all of you for joining us here on the Senior Network. Be safe and have a healthy week. Bye-bye.